Good morning. I'm going to share some ideas about living in the moment, the joy of mindfulness. Why do you want to live in the moment? Our minds are in the habit of wandering into the past or into the future. So eager are we to get to the next place that our current place always appears less interesting. Thus, we are mostly living in a standby mode, waiting for the next moment, and we call it living. The art of living in the moment opens a whole new world of experiences, experiences that are happening right now. Let's look at you and me. This is our body, our brain, inside the brain, our mind. So this is you, this is me. And then there is time, past, present, future. Now our body always lives in the present. There is no other way. But our mind not only lives in the present, but it can also live in the past and in the future. Now that's a good thing. Only humans are able to live in the past and live in the future. So for example, a cow doesn't say, oh, last week the grass I grazed was so delicious. Or okay, tomorrow I'm going to go to that other pasture. Now, only humans have the gift. So it's a good thing that our mind wanders in the past and wanders in the future, but let's control it and use that gift properly. And so there can be a person who lives in the past, a person who lives in the future, and person three lives in the present. A person one who lives in the past would experience either sadness or hubris, or both. Person living in the future either suffers anxiety or is a daydreamer or both. The person living in the present experiences appreciation, manifests appreciation, and experiences joy. Now, for a long time, I have lived in as a person one, then a combination of person one and person two. But for last 10 years, more and more, I'm living as person three, and I want to share my formula. I have coined a new term, free, with a double R. Because it's a trailer, I'm going to go fast. Free flow. We should seek more of it. We have to respect the past and respect the future, and I'll show you how. And then expedition is the real thing. We have to learn to relish the journey rather than the goal. And finally, engage the present. Be in the here and now. I'm going to skip the first three and go to E directly, this being the trailer. Engage the present, be in the here and now. And for this, what we need is attention control, which again requires meditation, experience journaling, and self-monitoring. And I explain these in the full talk. And then plan diversions. So we should plan for the diversions rather than diversions disturbing us at any time of their choosing. Another way of looking at this is that we interact with objects, people, and activity. And so when we interact with objects, we have to use all five senses. Let me give you a quick example. So Knorr, Knorr, is a food company in the UK, and once it invited lovers to an experiment. It invited lovers the first time blind on a blind date, and they literally blindfolded them and then served dishes, food. And these people were describing the food because they could not see. They were experiencing the food with all the four senses in this case, and they were describing it to the partner. And later on, they expressed, they revealed how much thrilled and enjoyable they found the experience. When we interact with people, what we need to learn is the art of listening. So when we are listening, we are actually busy. Our minds are busy formulating our response. What smart thing shall we say? And the art of listening, on which I have a separate lecture also, but I'll elaborate. Art of listening is uh, practicing the art of actually hearing and not making our mind busy with formulating our response. And that becomes more enjoyable. And then activity, no matter how boring the activity, we need to bring curiosity and immersion. And I illustrate this with cashier and commute example. So cashier's job becomes boring because all he or she has to do is scan the merchandise, and I talk about how that job with curiosity and immersion can become enjoyable. And then commute. Uh, Now we commute the same route. We have commuted the same route 100 times, 1,000 times maybe. And yes, we should multitask. So we should make our mind busy with other things, or in our mind we should do other things. We should multitask most of the time. Why? Because multitasking is the only way we would accomplish things. But we should multitask only when we need to. At other times we should enjoy, we should not multitask. So a thing like commute, every once in a while I stop multitasking while commuting and immerse myself in commuting. And every time, even if I have traveled the same route for 100 times, I find something new, including the cars surrounding me, the people surrounding me, the billboards. And I elaborate more on that in the full lecture. But I am fascinated by this quote by Heraclitus: "No man ever steps in the same river twice." Now that's only part of the quote. So let me give you the full quote. No man ever steps in the same river twice. For it's not the same river, and he is not the same man. How beautiful. That's what makes curiosity and immersion. That's what makes even a boring chore interesting, because it's not the same task when we are doing it for the 101st time. So we need to organize episodes of flow every day or every week. I respect the human gift of memory and imagining, but I control it. I use the journey itself. The moment I step out of the house, no matter where I'm going, my fun has begun. I don't wait for the destination or the goal. And I'm not bragging, I'm saying that it's possible for each of you to experience the joy of the expedition. And then, if you enjoy the journey, then engagement in the now and here almost becomes automatic. This is how one practices being person number 3 more and more. Feel the freedom. Freedom from the bondage of our wandering mind. We are a bonded servant to our wandering mind. Instead of that, we have to become the master of our wandering mind, so that we relish the past when we want, imagine and plan the future when we want. But most of the time, we are living in the present undisturbed. I've been living this kind of life for more than a decade now, feeling the joy of the now. And today, on this day, in this moment, I invite you to feel the same joy, the joy of living in the present. Thank you, and I look forward to meeting you at the full presentation.